I don't ride for nobody, no badge, no crew. Truth don't play favors, it just come through. I don't take sides, I take time and review. So to put it, let the context break through. If you clean, that stamp stay true.
We're back with another one, the intriguing case of one Jerry Motley. Now, when you hear this story, it could have mixed reviews in your mind as to whether or not you agree, disagree, or are neutral about what Jerry did. Now, what Jerry did do was end Jerry's own existence in the free world by taking matters into his own hands after being what he termed as bullied and harassed by coworkers. Now, we're going to be responding to a video done by Iwu. Explore with us, in case you have not heard of that channel before. They do a lot of crime and police investigations, and they flesh out the story based on what information they have. What we're going to do differently to their breakdown is to add a little bit of social commentary and possibly explore the reasons why Jerry might have done what Jerry did and whether it could have been avoided and how to avoid certain situations in the future for those of you who are going through similar situations like Jerry did. So we're going to talk. It's going to be a big conversation, a robust conversation. So this is not going to be short. So sit down, tuck yourself in, get your coffee, get your frappe, whatever you got to get to stay awake for this, because it's going to be a little bit lengthy. But I guarantee you it's going to be worth it. And if you're new to the channel, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe before we get going. And once you've done that, come on back and let's have a discussion about one Jerry Motley and the events that altered his life forever.
Employee that shot people.
He's just racist. Just flat out racist.
Posted on Facebook last night and he came to work all weird.
Boss man makes black jokes every day. My name is Black Jerry.
But I just remember looking up and I saw Jerry with the gun. He did one of these and pulled the trigger at my dad.
You guys. I really hope y'all do that.
In Clinton Township, Michigan, an employee films his morning commute to work, ranting about alleged racism, bullying, and mistreatment by his coworkers.
Now, I'll mention this of what I observed so far about Jerry. Jerry does not seem to be at, and this is no insult to Jerry, just an observation. Jerry does not seem to be at the top of the spectrum when it comes to an IQ. Now, that's not saying that Jerry is stupid, because Jerry understands life and he understands what's wrong against somebody enough to act upon it. However, him being a little bit slow or lower in IQ does not give people the right. In fact, it should put pause in your mind not to mess with people like that, because one, they are without the cognitive function to fully defend themselves verbally, but it makes you the lesser person by going after somebody like that. And to us, that seems as a plain old giveaway as to what not to do. But what you're about to hear, y'all might see as justification for Jerry's action. Y'all might see as non-justification, but you can understand. Or even in all of that, none of this is justified. We'll find out soon what you believe.
The last thing they ever expected was for him to enter the workplace armed with a gun and murder on his mind.
The kid didn't look like he had a care in the world that he just did any of that.
The following is based on official police records, and the footage has never been seen before until now. On the morning of January 9th, 2018, 25-year-old construction worker Jerry Motley Jr. begins recording on his way to the office.
So, now we're recording. I'm going to tell you, like I told these others, it's like, they just did, like, outrageous, racist bullying. It's like time and time I come into work, just racist, just flat out racist. There's no forgiving. Dude used that word like a million times. Boss man makes black jokes every day. My name is Black Jerry. I'm the lowest paid in the company. Been there for a year. Pretty much, and I got a best friend that works there too. So it's like, even my best friend sat there and pointed out a branch, like, oh, Jerry, which one you want to be hanged from? Him and Johnny. It's like, y'all like, think like doesn't like click. Like, y'all are ignorant. Y'all just think money is the power of everything. Really, a weapon is the power of everything. I'm just basically saying you guys. And I really hope y'all do that.
Now, I'm going to say this about Jerry's friend. That ain't Jerry's friend. If you are a friend that would, now hear me out, especially if you know Jerry, you should know that Jerry feels this way. If you don't know that Jerry feels that way, that means you have not talked to Jerry, which means you ain't Jerry's friend. If Jerry doesn't even feel comfortable enough to tell you that this stuff is offensive and you still continue, then something is wrong with our relationship. And I don't think that was, now, if I said back to Jerry's idea of whether or not he's on the higher spectrum of IQ levels, maybe Jerry really thought that this guy was his friend when in fact he wasn't. Maybe his idea of what a friend was or a best friend was not exactly what a best friend is. Therein might have been the first mistake that Jerry made, is befriending somebody that really wasn't a friend.
You guys. And I really hope y'all do that.
Minutes later, Jerry arrives at his workplace. He parks his car and calmly heads toward the front door as he'd likely done every workday for the past year. But this time, tucked into a hoodie pocket underneath his jacket, is a fully loaded pistol.
Bucket. Where's Tom? Look and see. Oh, God, he is.
911, where is your emergency?
I need an ambulance immediately at Reliable Sense. We got an employee that shot people.
Where is the person that shot him?
I don't know. We have 4 rooms back there, and when I'm in the locked room, I need police and I need an ambulance staff.
Okay, where I have everybody coming. Where is the victim?
He's right next to me, and I don't know who else
Okay,
he
is he?
shot. Who else did he
All right,
shoot?
is he breathing?
Yes, he's breathing.
Okay, where is he shot?
In the chest.
Okay, do we have anything to put on the wound?
He's got his glove against it now.
Okay.
Just stay still.
Is-
His dad shot
All right, who's the
person?
person?
He shot my brother. I have 2 people shot.
Okay, where's the other?
Brother, he's trying to leave. I need police now.
The dispatcher requests information about the suspect's car, but the woman on the line is unable to answer as someone delivers a crushing confirmation.
Now, Jerry decides to flee the scene, which tells me that Jerry also feels a sense of guilt, so he's not that remedial to where he doesn't understand that what he did was wrong. But I do believe that the emotional state that he was in definitely gave him a little bit of a boost to do what he had to do. Look, there are sometimes people that just feel fed up. They're just done. They have no more options in their mind, whether it's warranted, right, or not. People just feel at the end of their rope. It's no different than someone saying they're trying to end their life. They have just tried every and exhausted every avenue to try and feel better, be better. Some just choose the path that no one else or very little people will choose. Jerry decided to choose one other path, and that was make everybody else pay for the despair he was feeling. Now, again, I'm telling you that there are multiple ways that you can look at this. You can take Jerry's side. You could not take Jerry's side. Well, I don't think you can take the side of the people that were doing this to Jerry. However, if you did that, can I be honest? I can't consider you good people, especially when you hear what Jerry had to say about the why and how this all came about. If you still side with them, I'm not saying that, what Jerry did was right. I'm not saying that, but however, the people that pushed him to this limit have to have some responsibility as well, because they also knew things were troubling him and they still continued. But as you saw, Jerry just left the scene and people are starting to at least follow to see where the car and which direction it was going. We'll see where it ends up.
You mean my brother's shot?
Ma'am, ma'am, take a deep breath. Ma'am, we have everybody coming, okay? Ma'am, somebody get on the phone with me, please. Ma'am, hello? Ma'am, hello?
Black Jerry?
As more calls reach dispatcher,
They even call him Black Jerry on the phone. So he wasn't lying. Hey, look, of all things he might have done, he didn't lie. That's what they call him. Okay.
they're able to learn from other employees that the suspect fled the scene in a gray Saturn.
This is a black male. He works with us. I don't know. He posted on Facebook last night, and he came to work all weird.
Okay. Listen, we got everybody coming to help you. Take a deep breath. What's his name?
Jerry Motley. He shot Tom? What the? I have one
Conscious and breathing?
Conscious and breathing that shot. He's standing right
Okay.
behind me.
All right. And what about the other person?
Other person's on the ground, looks like he's dead.
The Clinton Township Police Department arrived to the shocking aftermath of Jerry's rampage. One victim, Angelo Joe McCauley III, was treated by paramedics at the scene and transferred to McLaren Hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. In a back office, the business owner, 61-year-old Thomas Edward Badke, was found face up on the tile floor in a pool of blood, with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. The murder weapon, a semi-automatic pistol, was found near his legs, containing 7 unspent rounds. Several employees were brought into the police station and asked to describe for detectives exactly what happened.
Now, this is the point where I said at the beginning, if y'all take the side, you might have a problem. This is where it starts to flesh out the environment of the workplace that Jerry was a part of. Now, again, I am not justifying Jerry's actions. Not really. I'm just stating to you that there are certain things you are not in control of. One is people's reactions to your actions. You can't tell people how to react to something you do to them. Sometimes people act volatilely to something you do. Sometimes people overreact, and sometimes we get away with it because people don't react at all. But you cannot, at any point in time, say, well, you didn't have to. And we can also say you didn't have to start the instigating problem, did you? No. Two-way street. And this is not one way.
We all gather in Tom's office in the morning to find out what we're doing for the day. I'll just kind of talk and see what's going on. And Jerry was just acting really weird this morning.
In what way? Was he not talking to people?
No,
he normally does.
No, yeah, just not talking. Just and his buddy Jeff in the other room was like his best friend. And Jeff said hi to him, and he's like, and just walked away. Just mumbled something, and walked away. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Well, anyways, we're all in Todd's office to find out what's going on. And all of a sudden, we're like, just thinking like, where's Jerry at? And then all of a sudden, we see the back door open, and then Jerry walks out like this.
Jerry pulls the gun out and says, "You mother, please stop with me." Blam, shots one.
I've been to shooting range. I know what it smells like when you shoot a gun. I'm like, what the? When he shot Angelo, you can hear Angelo hit the ground.
Lori, the deceased owner's sister, described what happened next.
Now, you heard him say that Jerry said, "I told y'all to stop." I said this before, and I'll keep reiterating it throughout this video. People tell you to stop. Well, it might be a good idea to stop. I'm just saying it might be a good idea. You don't know how they are going to be around you once they've given you one warning. And maybe because I grew up a certain way when I was younger, when mama said don't do something, and you decide to put your little toe in the water and see if she was serious about it, and you hear the word, "Didn't I tell you?" And all of a sudden, all of the warnings come flooding back to your mind. And you analyze life and you think to yourself, this shit ain't worth it. I'm not doing this. Mama gonna whoop me till I cannot see. Maybe I should just stop. Maybe if more people had that in their mind, they would actually leave people alone when they realize somebody say, stop or else. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not justifying it, but I understand.
I can play it in my mind. Into my view came Angela, and he's like, "This is my God, that hurts." And Jerry was there, and I said, "What the hell? What's going on?" Because I heard the sound. Was a cat going to firework? I mean, never in a million years. And he turned and he went this way through the door, and the door slammed and boom, boom against the door. And I was trying to push against the door, and I couldn't. I'm like, "What is going on?" Because I could hear it all against the door.
When he shot Joe, he was still going after Joe. He didn't have any intentions on going in the office because he was working his way. He was walking past the office, and I think that's when Dylan was right there and jumped on him. But when he was walking past the office, I could have sworn I heard him say, "I'm sick of this bull."
See what I mean? Like multiple times throughout this video, you hear them saying they knew he was tired, sick and tired. I look. It's a volatile situation, very, very, very tactile, because in one instance, you know that using this type of violence it's not worth it, because you end your life one way or another, if either by police or by jail. You don't really solve the problem. You just make a secondary one to mask the first. However, you are kind of done with the first one because you're no longer in their presence, but you could have easily have done that had you just left or sued or some other method. Jerry didn't choose that, and I cannot tell Jerry how he should have handled it because he was the one going through it for a year. By the law, he was wrong. By the metric of people pushing you to the limit, I can't say he's wrong, but you know what I mean? No, okay, continue.
Employee Dylan then attempted to stop Jerry from firing the gun again.
I grabbed both of his wrists and threw him up against the wall, and I couldn't hold him forever. I knew that. I held him for about 20 seconds, and then he found a way into the office, and Tom, at the time my boss, the second guy that got shot, he was trying to lock the door.
It was then that Jeff jumped in to help, but the struggle spilled over into the owner's office.
They moved into the office, and he still had the gun. And I looked, and my dad, since Jeff was on him, my dad saw that, and he wants to grab his arm and try to get control of it so no one else got shot. And then I saw that, and they were leaning on my dad's desk. So I jumped on Jerry, and I put him in a chokehold. And I don't know where my dad was. I know he was in there somewhere, but I just remember looking up, and I saw Jerry with the gun. He did one of these and pulled the trigger at my dad. Then after that, Jerry had the gun like this, and he shot it at the wall, and then he ended up dropping it. I don't know if it was because I was still choking him, so I don't know if he was losing consciousness. Then after that, him and Jeff just fell to the ground in the doorway. And I remember looking up to the right, and I just saw my dad laying there. I could tell he was almost passed out because he started gagging. I kind of let off because I didn't want to kill him, you know what I mean? Like, but I sat there telling him, I was like, you just killed my dad. Because I knew right away when I saw him laying there that there was no... Did you say the blood on me? No. No, I got up. Since I was the first one to get up, I walked out front because I didn't know what to do. Deep down, I knew what happened, but I didn't know what to do.
It was then that Jerry, just as casually as he entered, made his way back to his car.
I do feel for the young man because he did lose his father. I understand that. But in the grand scheme of things, if there's an environment which you are fostering that creates enmity between you and other people, again, and I'll keep going back to this, there are just some things not worth harassing people for, around, and about. Unless they're completely, absolutely on board with your harassment, he might call it jesting, joking, statements, names, terminologies, please stop. You may not call it a bullying tech, but it's bullying. It's 100% bullying. If someone doesn't have the wherewithal to tell you to stop in the most efficient ways, when they do tell you, regardless of how efficient you might think it is, I don't think he's serious. If he said that at least 4 or 5 times, he might mean it. He might mean it. You know who's not going to ever jest about Jerry again? I'll let you take a guess about that one. Now they'll never mess with Jerry again. Even if Jerry never went to jail, one thing for certain and 2 things for sure, ain't nobody messing with Jerry. Jerry made a point. Jerry made a point that I had enough is enough, and somebody going to end up finding out what enough means to me. It's a sad situation that it came to this, but hey, like I said, you can't dictate people's reactions to your behavior all the time, which is why it's important to keep yourself in check.
However, he didn't make it far. Just 1 mile down the road from the business, Jerry lost control of his vehicle, slamming into the rear of a flatbed truck. Despite not wearing a seatbelt, he survived.
Damn. Now that tells me that Jerry was distraught over his decision. Maybe trying to run and flee as fast and as far away as he could because he did understand the gravity. You see, again, height of emotions can drive you to do things that you're not logically thinking through. And this might have been one of the situations with Jerry. He wasn't logically thinking what would happen in the aftermath of his actions. He was just thinking about actions, solve this problem, sick of this problem, cause action, end of story. But what sets in after something this egregious is the guilt. And once that guilt sets in, now you have to try and run from self. And it's exactly what he started to do, it seems.
And was seen by the truck driver crawling out of a shattered window, fleeing on foot.
Well,
and he's crying.
And it's just crazy because, like, this morning I was asking what was wrong with Jerry, and, Jeff told me, did you read his Facebook status?
The night before the shooting took place, Jerry took to Facebook, leaving a cryptic post that hinted something dark was lingering in his mind. He detailed several incidents, writing, "You can't talk to another human being like that," then stating, "I put up with it for a year, no more."
Like, I was reading it, and it was just like all the people that gave me a hard time and this, and that, and I think he's talking about Joe.
Let's go back and read that real quick, because I do want to go over some of the stuff that they did not go into detail. Money doesn't mean anything to me. Why respect is more important since you like to throw dirt on my name, make me look bad. It's not cool, y'all. Laugh in 2017. I cried in 2017. You can't talk to another human being like that. Are you damn or dumb? Do you not know by not calling me by my government name? LOL. Black Jerry. Really, come on, people. Let's highlight this. I do have a government name that I go by. Jerry Motley. Every time I turn around, I'm always getting blamed for something. What do you expect? You are a disgrace. Two white people, Caucasians, does it is professional anymore. Good night. Oh yeah, I didn't forget that little joke that you said. I quote, if you give a black person watermelon, they would do anything that you say, as he shakes a watermelon in front of my face. The other employee that I cannot stand say, don't tell nobody. As he walked off, racist jokes are not funny. I put up with it for a year, for a whole family. No more. How dare you bring my ancestors into this argument? What it sounds like is that they might have expected a certain reaction from Jerry that Jerry was not willing to give. Jerry wasn't going to be joking about the things they thought was funny. And they continued. It seems like he had been asking them for a while to no longer do that. They didn't take the hint. Jerry no longer had the patience within him to do what he had to do to continue working. And this is where we are.
Mind. He detailed several incidents, writing, you can't talk to another human being like that, then stating, I put up with it for a year, no more.
Like, I was reading it, and it was just like all the people that gave me a hard time and this, and that, and I think he's talking about Joe.
So you know who he's talking about, which means that you also are aware that Joe has been giving him a hard time. So it wasn't a joke. Gotcha.
Was there a history of Joe giving him a hard time? I mean, that you saw.
All right. Joe has done a lot of things to everybody.
Here comes the excuse. I'm just saying, I can see it. The instant you have to say, well, you're trying to make a little bit of a case for why Joe was okay. Because everybody had it down through him, but everybody didn't say stop, bro. It's what I mean. Everybody didn't say stop, but Jerry did. Jerry did say stop multiple times. So if Jerry's not participating in the jesting, maybe Jerry don't like to be jested with and take your jokes to everybody else. Now, if Jerry, after you joke with everybody else and everybody's laughing, hee ha ha, and he want in on the jokes, he might include himself. But wait till he does. If he says stop, stop. I don't know. I don't see how that's difficult.
He grabbed me by my neck and, choked me up one time at a job.
Joe, the owner?
He's a worker.
Okay.
He's grabbed the owner's son by his neck and choked him up just for stupid little bickering arguments, and he's done it to Jeff. And he always picked on Jerry.
Angelo is kind of a bully, really, honestly. He'll, flick cigarettes at you, he'll throw at you, he'll just do all types of stuff to, kind of take you off. Right. And picks on Jerry the most, so I can see why he was the first one shot.
According to the owner's son, there may be a reason Joe hasn't yet been fired,
I want to hear that.
despite the allegations of abuse by his co-workers.
It sounds like Joe's a big dude. He's not small. Mm-hmm. Is he that meathead? Is he that guy that's got to pick on everybody, flick cigarettes at everybody, call names? Oh, yeah. Has he been there a long time? Worked for your dad? Yeah, 17 years.
Damn.
My dad's known him since diapers. He's best friends with his dad. That's why, Joe's caused fights around there in the past 7 years I've been there. Me and him butted heads a few times. Does he keep his job because of the relationship between your dad and his dad? Oh, yeah.
See now. Okay, now hear me out. If a father puts some random dude of somebody else's loins ahead of his, he a piece of shit. Yep, said it. He a piece of shit. Am I happy that Thomas Edward Botke is dead? No. But he's still a piece of shit. Point blank period. That had nothing to do with race. That has everything to do with his stupidity by putting somebody else who's obviously a bully and your own son getting bullied by him above the law. I can't feel bad. I can't. Why? Because in a lot of ways, Thomas's actions gave Thomas his end result. Against the law and all, Thomas knew that Angelo was being an absolute a-hole around the office and did nothing. You can't be surprised when you allow this stuff. Again, you can't dictate other people's actions for stuff you allow, which is why it's vitally important to learn how to read the damn room. If your own son's been telling you, hey, this is the problem, and you can see it and you allow it, I'm surprised your son didn't act up before now. You what? Yeah.
Why I think he shot Tom is because nothing happened. We've brought to Tom's attention that Joe is... Nobody likes Joe there. Everybody will tell you that. Nobody likes Joe here. We tolerate him. He's with everybody. You know, he's just a cocky dude, you know? Just thinks his don't stink.
In part of Jerry's recording, filmed prior to the shooting, he made it clear why Joe was a target.
And Joe, the reason I shot Joe, because you're just ignorant. You're the mixture of racist and ignorant. Always constantly yelling at me, telling me to do. I done did everything that you said, but you're still crying about everything. Saying that I ain't worthless, what the hell am I doing in this company? You sat there and antagonized me that one day, and I told you to stop. Like, man, yeah, I mean, no. Then the boss man's gonna defend you.
Have people gone to the owners about Joe and said, hey, things you gotta stop? I mean, he's basically...
The last times, like the last situation Joe had with somebody who was with me is when he grabbed me up on my neck one time, and I told Tom, look, I'm either gonna quit, or you need to tell Joe, like, you're going to do something for him, like get him help. And, you know, Tom told me I'm going to tell Joe to take anger management.
Anybody else find it weird that he's addressing Dad as Tom? I'm going to go out on a limb and make an assumption, and y'all can get mad if you won't, but I'm going to make an assumption. I don't think that Thomas is this dude's dad. I'm looking at the shape of that face and the silhouette of the other dude. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Thomas was Angelo's father. Which is why he never listened to this dude talk, because if this, hear me out, your son, blood, DNA, son, come and tell you, Joe choked me out. And the most you can tell me, hey, maybe he should take anger management class. Huh? Hold on. Of all the people you should know would be your son, I would think. That's why I don't think it's his kid. Anyway, you should know that, right? And your son, who you should know, comes and tells you that somebody who worked for you is messing with him in a format which is not one conducive to work, first of all. So you could get your ass sued, first of all. His son could have brought your ass to court for allowing an unhealthy work, which I wish he still does for the whole organization, and takes the rest of that money that y'all got. That's what I hope the son do. Anyway, but if he do that and he tell you this individual is a toxic individual in the workplace, you should have done something about it. That was your job. Your job is not only as a father, but now you as a boss, you should be taking care of this. Not tell him, don't worry about it. I think he'll take anger management class someday. Eventually, y'all just got to put up with it until. I'm going to stand on it. Thomas ain't shit.
I said, you know what? All right, I'll let it. I'll get over it. We're all family. We all got to work together. We've got to put roofs over our heads. That was it.
After wounding Joe, killing Tom, crashing his car, and fleeing on foot, Jerry was quickly apprehended when a Roseville police detective saw him running into a subdivision and successfully tackled him to the ground. He was then handcuffed by an officer with the Fraser Police Department, who later returned him to the custody of Clinton Township. He now sits with detectives, who will hear a haunting confession regarding his motives for the brutal attack.
The terminology that they're using about the attack is also frustrating, but I'll let it go.
I got the job through my best friend. Okay, my best friend is Jeff. Pretty sure you talked to him. But it's just something just didn't really feel right. Like, because then he started completely being that whole, just screaming and yelling at me. If I get something wrong, you're
stupid, you're dumb, you're worthless. The way he was acting towards me, and he was like, you would never get a raise here, you're just a piece of, and you're and this. Every time we get in an argument, he reverts back to racism, and it's like I'm at a losing chance. Then whoever's with him, they're tagging along, they're laughing at the joke, so I'm just like a target, and it's just a constantly target every single day of my life.
Jeff, who explains he's known Jerry since high school, admits there was name calling at the job site.
There are times where, there's racial slings back and forth, you might say, or whatever, he might say something about being white or something, everybody, even him, would shoot shots back, it's just guys and guys, and then, like with me and him, our relationship, he technically is one of the whitest black people I know.
That's what they say about me. What they was to tell me, I'm just a cracker in dark clothes. That's all they tell me. But hey, if that's what I am, that's what I am. I had a certain upbringing that if you think that's what white look like, then I don't know who's the racist. It might not be me. Anyhow, I too was part of a crew when I did work as an electrician. And if you ever worked around electricians, they have no off switches. They're almost as bad, if not worse, than construction workers. And I work with quite a hefty crew of them. And I can indeed testify to you right now that there is 90% of them do not have filters. They do not care. They don't have a politically correct bone in their body. They will make self-deprecating jokes. They will make jokes about you, your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your uncle, all of them. Everybody's fair game in the trade of working in the construction or electrical business. However, unlike most people, I didn't have a problem with it per se, but there were people that did. And the thing about it is, as a supervisor, which I was, when you hear that somebody has a problem with what we consider normal behavior around the scene, you have to put the hard line and said, that might be normal for y'all. It ain't normal for this guy. And this guy said he don't want to be part of that, but you have to work around him. You can make all them jokes in your break time or when he's not around, but while he's here, out of respect for your coworker, especially considering that for the most part, this ain't even allowed on a job site by the law, y'all better stop. As the head honcho, you would have thought that Tom would have done that. Tom didn't do that. It seems like even this guy's corroborating the story that Jerry said happened. Okay.
He doesn't really like his kind either, per se. I mean, I guess you'd say back in the day.
Let me hear that again. I got to hear that again. What? He didn't even like his kind? Huh? Hold up. Wait a minute. Something sound white. Now I'm just saying. Hold on. What? Say that again.
The whitest black people I know.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't really like his kind either, per se. I mean, I guess you'd say back in the day.
Nobody said that back in the day. Not like, well, okay. Somebody said it back. Somebody did say it back in the day. They had a very specific look too. What was that outfit they used to wear? A lot of them used to walk around the place and they were fond of fire. They weren't arsonists necessarily, but they really liked hanging around fire. And wood was their best friend. They really loved white flowy material. But particularly, they liked hats. And the hats that they normally wore stood straight up right on top of their head. And it's a weird thing, but they didn't like the fact that the hats would just stop at the top. They wanted the hat to cover the whole thing all the way down to the shoulder. And they had these little cutouts for the eyes to see through. It's a weird company of people, but I remember them saying, "You're kind." I remember them being that person's. I can't remember the name of the group right now. It eludes me. I'm sure somebody's going to remind us about it in the comment section. We'll find out who it is. Maybe y'all can tell me. But let the best friend continue.
He kind of acts like it didn't really offend him as much, when we were younger,
Younger.
In parts of the recording made before the shooting, Jerry speaks directly to his best friend,
Let's
Jeff.
hear this.
Jeff, let me tell you something. You are the most his best friend ever. The way you treated me when I first started at that company was overrage. Jumping around in the state truck, screaming, "Nick, Nick, Nick, Nick." Jerry, you ain't never gonna be nothing. My car broke down, so you had to come and get me. You just harassed me every single day. You harassed me about getting my car. When are you ever gonna get your car? I don't want to drive you. All this other bullshit. If you ain't want to drive me, you ain't have to drive. But it's no point. I just sat there and you just screamed and yelled at me. It's like, yeah, I'm the boss of you and all this other bullshit. I can't believe you.
Don't get me wrong, we all joke around. You know, it's a construction work. It's a bunch of guys, you know, both around. You're an idiot, you know, excuse my language, or whatever. You know, everybody picks on everybody.
All of my friends are Caucasian. All of them. And it's like I never in my life have been treated in a racial way really that bad. And it's like, it's not fair. And it's like, I even thought about like, maybe I should quit. But something inside me was like, no, they can't get away. They can't get away with this. Like, this is not right. Y'all already broke through. Like, oh my God, it's nerve-wracking. Just thinking about it, like, it's like, how do you treat another human being so bad and expect him to be earthly fine with it when it's a constant thing when he told y'all multiple times to stop?
Jerry points to the nickname Black Jerry as a source of resentment, but employee Dylan shares their reasons for addressing him this way.
I can't wait to hear this one. Woo! This ought to be good. This ought to be real good, Dylan. Tell us, why Black Jerry? Please proceed.
We do call him Black Jerry, but it's not because we're trying to be racist. We have multiple Jerrys that work with us. Okay, kind of just the easiest way.
Oh, it's the easiest way because we got multiple Jerrys working with us. Hey, Motley, look how easy that was. They used to call me Brown. Corey calls me Brown. It's a good thing I wasn't working because I might have taken that as a racial slur too because my name looked like me. I'm just saying, you have a last name too. You know, y'all could call it like Jerry. Everybody, I'm sure nobody else had the Motley last name. Y'all could have easily said, hey, Motley, over here. Motley, get this for me. Motley. He'd know exactly who you're talking about. I mean, I've been accused of not liking black people too. I just don't like certain behaviors of people that black, but that don't mean I hate black people. The reason I talk and call people out on behaviors is because I do love black people. Because if I hated them, I wouldn't say shit to y'all. But I do love. That's why I say what I say. Now, many people who actually think like these people think I hate black people because of things I say to black people. But they'd much rather me not say to them. Tough. I'm going to say it. Now, I don't like that excuse about we have multiple Jerrys. That is bullshit, and they know it. Come on now. There are so many other options. You could have given the dude a nickname of something that he wears glasses. 4 Eyes could have worked. Goggles could have worked. Test that out. I don't know. Black Jerry? Anyway, continue.
And he never told us that he didn't like it, so I'm the only black person there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I kind of like tried to bring it up to Tom, but Tom just like brushed it off. One morning I come in and Tom, everybody's sitting there. They're just making black jokes. Oh, when you turn off the light, you're gonna see his teeth go. I'm like, that's not funny. It was like, and then they just no apologies, just went on about their life. Like, are you serious? Like, that's bullshit.
Jerry shares a more specific example of something that happened between him and Joe.
Here.
One day I was extremely pissed off, like I wasn't having a good mood. And for some reason, Tom sent me with Joe, and Joe was just being and I was like, dude, can you just leave me alone? So I kind of got pissed off, and I went in the truck. He's hitting the window while I'm in the truck, just terrorizing me. And Jeff was like, you know he's not going to stop. I was like, look, he just needs to leave me alone. And he's all laughing about it, thinking it's all funny.
Outrageous, screaming at me. Oh, if I get something wrong, oh shit, you already know this. You've been here for at least 2 months. I have a disability. I can't do that. I know it now. Now that I've been there for a year. I'm just doing whatever Joe's doing to you. That's not right.
I don't know whether they were aware that he had a disability. I'm going by what he say. He say he have a disability. So I was right in the onset, because I didn't hear this part. I'm telling you now, I didn't hear this part. He say he got a disability, which would explain why I felt like he was a little bit lower on the IQ scale. Now, I could be wrong that his disability ain't in his mind, but if I was a guessing man, that's where I think it would be. Either by the observation of ADHD, or he was kept back in school because his skills in learning wasn't the best. He may have dropped out of high school, but he does not seem cognitive enough to defend himself verbally properly to people. And I think they took advantage of that. What he couldn't do to explain himself, rage took over, and his anger would tell them, stop, I'm done. And they took that as funny. It ain't funny now, but they definitely took it as funny back then. Read the room, people. Read the damn room.
That's some bull.
Multiple co-workers acknowledged that Joe was particularly harsh with Jerry, but still couldn't believe he would take it to this extreme.
Of course not.
Jerry was, I've had him over my house a few times, you know what I mean? We've hung out. He was a good kid.
He still is. He just happened to act on stupid people's behavior towards him. That's really what it is.
I mean, granted, I know Angelo, he gave him quite a bit of at work, but, I mean, Jerry's a little slow. So when you tell him to do something and he doesn't do it properly, you just got to keep telling him, you know what I mean? My dad's, to be honest, everybody's told my dad, you know what, Jerry's a good kid, but we don't mean he's cut out for this kind of work. My dad agreed, but he didn't want to just dump Jerry off, you know what I mean? He wanted to help the kid. That's what he does with a lot of these people around.
He didn't help Jerry. He didn't help Jerry. He hurt Jerry because he didn't listen to Jerry. As much as he said you want to help Jerry, Jerry told him, you can help me by stopping this fool that you got working for you named Joe, but he didn't stop the monkey. He didn't. He continued to let it happen. You see how this worked? I tried telling you, don't push me. Don't push me. Push me one more time and I'm knocking your head off. Now, if I hit you, I'm the bad guy? No, you see, the problem is I told you multiple times to stop. You didn't. Now, if my actions, which I told you was going to come down the pike, comes down the pike, you ain't got a leg to stand on when it comes to saying, you shouldn't. I told you this is what was going to happen. Come on now, people. If your dad really thought that, which is why you keep talking about Tom like y'all ain't even related, man. Something about you and Tom don't make sense, like at all. That's fishy to me. That you and Tom, I'm looking at your face and his face, and you must look everything like your mama. You got to be all mom. That's the only thing I can think of, buddy.
According to Tom's sister, Lori, she encouraged her brother to fire Jerry, but Tom refused.
He's a little slow.
Who's that?
Jerry.
Okay.
And I said to my brother, Tony, things are getting slower, the winter season, da-da-da, you can laugh. Leave the kid alone. He needs a job. He did everything, and you killed him?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom was great to him. You know, Tom could have canned him 6 months ago, you know.
So that's your measure of good to him, is not firing him. No, good to him would have been listening to him about what everybody else was complaining about, which was Joe. That would have been being good to Jerry. Say, hey, Jerry, I heard you. Everybody else complains about Joe. I think it's about even the new guys complaining about Joe. You got your son complaining about Joe. You got Jerry's best friend complaining about Joe. You got everybody complaining about Joe, and you don't touch Joe. You complain about firing Jerry. Okay.
I mean, he just wasn't the best worker all the time, you know, again, he's just slow, you know, doesn't like the cold, you know, all this, so, but he was very patient with Jerry, and which is why I don't understand what...
When Tom was shot, it looked like he was the target of was Jerry's intention.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, because there's 4 of us there, and he could have went off all of us.
Right, but
you know
he specifically got his arm in, pointed at Tom, and pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
Jerry continues his confession to investigators, sharing a specific incident regarding the owner, Tom.
Tom's like started laughing, and then just turned to me. do you want to hear something funny? I'm like, not really, Tom. I really don't want to hear that funny. Oh, if you give a black person watermelon, he can do anything that you say. As he shakes the watermelon in front of my face. So I'm like, wow. So Joe turns around after he leaves the room and tells me, Jerry, don't tell nobody what goes down over here. Immediately I thought to myself, like, yeah, because if I tell anybody, it's not gonna matter.
The kid didn't look like he had a care in the world that he just did any of that. And I don't know why he shot my dad. My dad was nothing but good to him.
Is this kid traumatized? Like, no, for real. Like, is John traumatized from something that happened that he feel the stuff that he was saying about his own father and Joe, that he thinks that somehow everybody else don't see what he's. Is this what they consider cognitive dissonance? Maybe that's what it is I'm seeing here. Stockholm syndrome too, maybe?
There's no way he just randomly decided to just bring that gun into work. You know what I mean? He wouldn't just do that. He's that type of kid where he has to plan it. He doesn't just go with the flow. His brain just doesn't work that way. I just don't understand what pushed him this far today.
Therein lies your problem, John. You know, in a lot of ways, Jerry might have been slow, but the rest of y'all slower. Jerry might have an excuse for him being slow. His is actually functional with this body. Y'all just stupid for spite. Y'all are just stupid y'all are purposefully stupid. That makes y'all twice as remedial as Jerry. Jerry might have a disability. What's your excuse? You just went through the whole gamut telling everybody what Joe do. You're telling your father never did anything, that this Joe fella choke you on your dad didn't, and you said the daddy was so good. Shut up, bro. Shut up. It's okay to not defend a fool, which your father was, a fool. The man allowed all kinds of crap at the job, and now you are coming out here saying, I don't know how he could have gotten to that place. Maybe all of y'all were remedial. Maybe every last one of y'all were just born slow, or you became slow, or you just, I don't know, pretty much just ridiculously racist, and you didn't give a damn. And you thought because he was slow, he ain't gonna do nothing. Found out differently, didn't you? You know, there's a moment for that. What was it called? F around and find out. I think that's what they call that. I think they call that F around and find out. But you don't know how he got here. I don't know how he got here. I mean, all we did was call the man names and mess with him all the time when he told us to stop. Oh, that's all we did. Who gets mad at that?
You can't picture a specific event in the last few days or whatever. Okay.
Detectives also wondered if this was a sudden decision by Jerry or something he'd been planning for some time.
Where did you get the gun from? Gun shop. Have you ever shot it before today? Nope, honestly, that's my first time ever shooting a pistol. How did you find out how to use it? YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
Jerry explains he originally purchased it 4 months ago after a heated argument with Jeff when they were returning from a job site.
All the way back, like we're screaming and yelling at each other. He pulled over. He was like, your attitude is ridiculous. I hate you. And at this point, I'm already crying. I'm emotional. I don't even know what to do. I'm pissed off. Like, so I went to go talk to Tom about it. Tom was like, well, all you need to do is just listen to Jeff.
Yeah, that sounds like a great boss, doesn't it? He sure know how to put everybody in their place. He took care of things when he brought it to their attention, or he didn't. All right.
I'm like, but he's screaming and yelling at me. He was like, are you doing what he said? I was like, but you don't have to scream and yell at me. I was like, I messed up once and he screamed and yelled at me. She was like, well, all I need you to do is listen to him. Brush it off like it wasn't nothing. So I went to the gun shop, got the gun, filled out the paper and all that. First time buying a gun. So I carried it once to work. And it was a potential. But like that, I backed out because it was like, okay, maybe
down the road they're going to change.
Down the road it'll change. Maybe things will get better, right? Right.
I was treated unfairly. Again, from the simple fact that you say everything about black people. You blame black people for all your problems, and you blame me for your problems. You ain't never gonna be the. Oh my God, you're a piece. Oh well, here you go. I know.
But as Jerry reveals, he had bigger plans than targeting just Joe and Tom.
Let me ask you this. If your plan to get back at these guys worked out perfectly, what would have happened?
Everybody, I bet you.
100%, I probably would have been shot dead on the site. And you would have been shot dead? Pretty much. Or you mean you would have shot all of them dead? No, I had a different plan for my best friend. I would have shot my best friend in his 2 legs. Make sure he couldn't walk ever again. And pretty much from there, just let it role play.
Y'all might think that's sadistic, but I see why he would have done that. See, you think I'm handicapped. Now you can't work neither. Move faster. Move faster, Jeff. Come on. Move a little quicker. I already told you once. Come on, you can't move? You know what Jeff would have said? Can't you see I have a problem? I see where his mindset is going. So he's a little bit slow, but he ain't that slow. He's not that slow. See, he wouldn't put his buddy out of his misery. He'd put his buddy in his misery. Which tells me that what this dude was feeling was legit.
Did you want to kill everybody there but your best friend? Pretty much everybody but my best friend.
You understand what happened today. You understand that. What you did was wrong. You know what you did was wrong.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I know that for a
That
fact.
is going to take a human life. You know that.
Yeah.
And you were intent on killing these people in the shop.
Yeah.
And you killed Tom, you shot him in the head, and you took 2 shots at Joe. And your intentions were to kill him too.
That's a yes.
What were you feeling when this was going on? In my head, get Joe and go after everybody else.
But due to the quick intervention by his co-workers, Jerry was disarmed before he could harm anyone else. The only loss of life was that of his boss, Tom. Lori shares that outside of work, Tom took care of his wife, who's bound to a wheelchair and battling advanced stage 4 cancer.
What was that got to do with anything? And? You want empathy for what you do at home when you act an asshole at work? That's what you want? Nope. If you got that much empathy you can use on people, then you should have had a harder goal for people who are just as remedial at work. But you didn't. Which kind of tells me that maybe that boy ain't your kid and that oversized meathead was. In either case, you treated him more like a son than you did the actual son from your loins. That's wild work. That's wild work that you're going to bring. Oh, he was doing this. It's like when I hear people say, he was doing this for the community. He was doing this. He's doing that for the community. He doesn't touch a whole bunch of kids. But he was doing this. No one gives a rat's ass what the hell you was doing that made you look so holier than thou when your ass was being a complete fool and a clown to everybody else around you. That's your responsibility as a husband to take care of your wife. You want a medal for that? You got married, bro. It's in the rules of your marriage is to take care of her sickness and health. You want commendation for something that you're supposed to be doing. Oh, look, Tom's doing what Tom's supposed to do. Let's clap for him. Meanwhile, what Tom's supposed to be doing at work, he ain't doing. But you don't want to call that out. That's wild work, bro. Wild work.
Did I ever in a million years think somebody would bring a gun in and shoot somebody? No. My brother, least of all. My brother played Santa for kids.
Black kids or just white kids? My brother played Santa for kids. Y'all might think I'm being callous and cold, huh? Okay, cool. Think I'm being callous and cold. The instant you gotta try and turn on waterworks for me to like somebody tells me they're not really likable. I notice that none of them are really addressing the problem with Tom. The problem with Tom is that Tom did not give a rat's ass about his employees, especially his kid. That's wild work, but want me to think he did this for kids. He did this for, I don't care. Those weren't working there. They didn't work with him. Man, look, shut up.
For people in nursing homes, my brother was no doubt the kindest man, and I wish he would have shot me instead of him.
I wish they'd have shot me instead. I'm leaving that one alone only because if I say what I'm really thinking, I'm not going to say what I'm thinking, but maybe you're thinking what I'm thinking in my head and you can say it out loud in the comment section.
God, why didn't you take me instead?
Because just maybe, if you want to invoke God in this, God saw something. He said, nope, we got to end that one. You ever thought about that? He allowed it, right? He allowed it, right? Don't question God's judgment since you're bringing him into this. He decided to let this happen. Must be for a reason. Maybe this would wake you guys up to the reality of what stupidity causes in the workplace. Maybe that's a lesson he's trying to teach you. Is that when people come to you with complaints and tell you that something is wrong, maybe, just maybe, listen to them. Explore it. See if there's merit to it. And if there's merit to it, stop!
Why didn't you take me instead of Tommy?
Are you feeling any remorse for what you did today? It's probably gonna hit me later on, but as of right now,
nope.
I'm just like, it happened. I can't control it. Yes, I do want to cry because honestly, it could have been avoided. Yes, I know it was wrong. I know it could have went another way, but hey, it was my choice. As a human being, you make choices that you got to deal with. So now I have a body on my hands, and I'm probably going to be living in a long time for this. So now I just rock. Do you think you should be forgiven for this? No. What do you think that should happen to you? Bury me. Lock me up. Leave me to rot. It's just the way it is.
At this point, he don't care. You know why he don't care? Because nobody cares. I don't even know that Jerry's father really cared either. I don't know that anybody really cared about Jerry in his life. It sounded like Jerry did not have anything that he could call friend or family. Like you would think maybe, okay, Jerry's a little bit slow. Jerry could have gone and told Dad, this is what's happening, but maybe Dad ain't around or Dad don't give a damn. He could have gone and told Mom, this is what's happening. Mom don't care or Mom not there or Mom don't give a damn. He could have told any myriad of people and they didn't do nothing. They didn't help him. They didn't give him advice. It didn't seem like they did. Because as far as he's concerned, he just wants to rot. That's the only thing I'm worth is rotten. So that tells me for the most of Jerry's life, Jerry had nobody. And Jerry ran into the one situation where people compounded what might have already been happening in his home, happening in his private life, his personal life. And that was just too much. One step too far.
According to court records, Jerry Motley Jr. was ultimately charged with homicide, first-degree murder, multiple theories, assault with intent to murder, weapon carrying with unlawful intent, and 2 counts of weapons felony firearm. A jury found him guilty on all counts, and on August 7, 2025, he received a cumulative sentence of life in prison without parole. If you'd like to see select new videos or...
In a lot of ways, Jerry might have actually come out on top, and I'll tell you why. Jerry might actually find more of a camaraderie and family in prison than he would have ever found anywhere else. I've heard stories of people going in there and actually finding family. Y'all might not understand that, but I've heard stories about that. I've heard people finding camaraderie because they share one mutual thing. Either they were forced to their hand or they realize, hey, I'm in a place now where nobody really can harm me to the point where they were doing it before. But even if I do, they might understand because they've been in my situation. Jerry had enough. Jerry was done. These people, racist in intent or not, did racist things, and they paid the ultimate consequence for being what they were. Life lesson is this: if somebody tell you the jokes ain't joking, stop joking. If somebody tell you the funny ain't funny, stop being funny. If somebody tell you stop making me the butt of your jokes, put the butt out. Don't continue and then get surprised when they cold cock you square in the face. Don't get mad. They told you to stop. Don't get mad if they act out and do something stupid when they told you multiple times, stop. And you decide, I'm going to ignore that. You know how many people do that with dogs and the dog pay the price? I've always been upset by that. You antagonize a dog, not the dog's a violent one. The dog doing what the dog do. It's got teeth. You like the fool decide to mess with the dog. And when the dog bites, you're like, I could put the dog down, he bit me. Your dumbass been messing with the dog for the last week. The dog been warning you. Take a snip. You just say, funny. Dog attached to a chain and you hear, and you just keep pulling on the chain. Brah, brah, brah. And you just keep going as close as you can, as close as you can, as close as you can. Now, mind you, he's been pulling at this chain for a week and ain't nobody checking on the chain. And then the one link that starts to do this, and then the one last pull, you decide come a little too close. Paf! Ha! Kill the dog. No. Leave the dog alone. Leave the dog alone. The dog doing what the dog do because you mess with the dog. I ain't calling the Jerry a dog. I'm making an analogy that when you mess with something that tells you to stop, maybe, just maybe, analyze the situation, read the room, and stop. Because like I said at the beginning, you cannot control how people react. Whether it's illegal or not is inconsequential to you being able to read the damn room and realize that your actions have consequences. The same way that Jerry accepted his consequences, I'm all right, that's what it is. Then just maybe we should also learn to do the same when it comes to other people saying stop. Just stop. Now, of course, if you're okay with the consequences, by all means, proceed. If you're not going to complain about the consequences, by all means, proceed. Do what you do, boo-boo. But if it comes back to bite you, don't complain. Don't say you didn't know. Don't say you weren't warned. And don't, for the love of all that is holy, say you didn't deserve it. Because, damn it, you deserve it. Probably even more. Probably even more. That's the moral of this story. Jerry got life, and the rest of them lost it. At least one. We'll find out maybe Joe might have changed his behavior after that episode. Maybe he might realize it might have been a wake-up moment for Joe to tell Joe, you got lucky this time, but maybe the next time won't be so much so. So stop. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it did. Don't know if it took. But this is one of those sadder stories for the side of Jerry because there are multiple people like Jerry, more than just being black. People who endure things because people do stuff to them and nobody stands in the gap for them. And when they act up, they're the bad guy. If someone tells you to stop, stop. If they're not enjoying your comedy, stop being funny. And if they tell you this could end badly for you, believe them.
One wrong move turn the present into the past. I don't ride for nobody, no badge, no crew. Truth don't play favorites, it just come through. I don't take sides, I take time and review. So to put it, let the context break through. If you clean, that stamp stay true. If you foul, that show up too. No miss, no spin, no cover up hype. Every